Ladies and gentlemen, how can you find something that you love to do? This is quite popular at this time in this country and many other places. And there is a reason for it, because there is a link between excellency and doing sort of things that you love to do. If you love to do something, then you're more likely to do that thing again and again, provided you overcome the initial resistance or initial inertia. Okay? Now, if you do more often than not, then you're more likely to get more practice, more experience, and you are more likely to become more perfect at it. For practice makes people perfect. And that's the reason why the notion of doing sort of things that you're passionate about, pursuing your bliss, apart from being the thing of life, you see, it also has an implications on optimal performance, in addition to the satisfaction and happiness that it brings, which appears to be the main aim of life. It's not to suffer, but to feel good and be contented for you and for the loved ones, and in fact for the whole people on the planet, and for whole life, in fact, whatever form it may have. Now, how did you find that? And here I would like to add some contribution to this discussion. Of course, the information is already there. It's just reproducing it for myself and for others who may find this information to be useful. Namely, that as you discuss about a particular topic, whatever that topic might turn out to be, if you're so inclined, you may try to move and sense your movement. As you move and sense your movement, you see, in relation to the subject of discussion. So there is three things: the movement, the sensation, and the object of the sensation. The talk is essentially a measurement exercise intended to somehow communicate what one senses as the movement goes on in relation to the subject of discussion or the subject of learning. It could be learning process, it could be planning process, it could be dating process, it could be anything, any of the myriad forms of life, activities. Now, to the extent one is able to somehow communicate more honestly and more genuinely to that which one senses, then one's discussion becomes interesting. In any case, that I have an inclination to sense the movement in relation to the subject of discussion. So one of the things that I do is, as I discuss about a particular topic, is to move my hands, and if I'm able, which I cannot do at this time, if I am away from the camera, I would move my whole body in relation to the subject of discussion to sense and therefore communicate about that. There is a model in experiential learning, and this that says you start from a concrete experience, namely the sensation, the movement, and the subject of discussion. And then you reflect on that. You say, oh, that is what's going on. You grasp. Right, that's the reflection phase. And the third phase is the conceptualization of what's going on. And the fourth phase is experimentation to see if that's indeed the case, and then you come back again to an active, to concrete experience, consequencing or resulting from your active experimentation, and you're back again. So one of the enterprises that I try to apprehend is to grasp or apprehend the movement, the sensation, utilizing those to apprehend the subject under discussion and to communicate that. So therefore, I think that that's what's also known from conceptual point of view, kinesthetic experience or kinesthetic learner. It's a term. And a lot of people say there is no actual evidence to say some people have an inclination for kinesthetic learning or auditory learning or visual learning and so on and so forth. But for me, I do not need an empirical evidence. I can use the kinesthetic tools, movement and sensation, to learn, to plan, and to carry out actual experimentations in my own life, and see if that makes any difference. That does not prelude or exclude my use of other forms of perception, namely auditory, visual, and touching, and other forms of a perception, or other forms or other tools of learning. This is just a preferred mode of learning or of grasping, to use that particular term, of a particular subject matter. And that's all so let's go back to my original question, which was how can we find sort of things that we love to do and do. And therefore, engaging in movement and in sensing the movement in view of understanding or learning or planning a particular subject matter is something that I love to do. And therefore, I may use this particular mode more often than not to do an excellent work. Thank you so much and have a good one. You may also use the kinesthetic mechanism for your own good by combining movement, by sensing what you're talking about, and by trying to communicate, you see, to yourself and to others that which you sense as you move in relation to the subject matter. I don't think so to repeat that the earth did not choose movement for random reason. There might be a random reason, but there could also be another reason, namely that the earth must have realized that moving allows it to support life, you and me. Thank you and have a good one.